So with the Eagles and Commanders just a few days away from the NFC Championship, both sides haven't been afraid to send over some bulletin board material. But what did they say, and who does it actually benefit? Meanwhile, the Birds were hoping to get a couple guys back at practice, but that's the exact opposite of what they got, with Cam Jurgens and Dallas Goedert surprisingly sitting out again. So just how bad is it, and what kind of timeline are we talking about? There is good news though. Jalen Hurts and Quinyon Mitchell were on the field, and it's all systems go. So let's talk about all the latest injury news from both camps and how it impacts the game Sunday. Plus, why are we already getting so many excuses from the Commanders? But first, let's run it. What's up, guys? Well, we got some good news and we got some bad news, but let's start with the optimism first, because Quinyon Mitchell is good to go and will be playing Sunday. And despite the Commanders' Terry McLaurin getting 2 catches for 42 yards and a touchdown on 3 targets in their last meeting, Q is ready for round 3 and says there's no concerns about limitations with his shoulder.
Feeling good, ready to go this Sunday.
Any limitations or anything?
Nah, I'm good to go.
Yeah. What happened on the injury?
Just tried to make a tackle, kind of like felt something in my shoulder neck area, and then just couldn't come back in.
How confident are you in making a tackle this upcoming game and not getting injured again?
Very comfortable. Yeah, no limitations.
Was there a point where you thought that you might be out for a while?
No.
Did you want to come back in?
Just talking to the trainers and stuff, obviously I want to come back in and play, but this was unfortunate enough.
This has got to be one of the biggest one-on-ones to watch on Sunday. I mean, Q was absolutely locked down in their first meeting. Remember, he had Scary Terry and Quinyon Mitchell, so much so that Jayden Daniels didn't even throw to his top target once. Of course, yeah, you could argue that Terry perhaps underestimated the Rook the first time they met, with McLaurin saying afterward, that dude does not play like a rookie. But in the rematch, there were some tendencies that the Commies receiver recognized and took full advantage of.
He's a good young player, and I like me too. You know what I mean? One-on-one, so I knew he was squatting, and he squats a lot. You can do that when you got you can do that when you got the front four that they have, but he's a great player, man. I told him we're going to continue to see each other, we're going to continue to battle. But when I saw him squatting, I went over to Kliff, and I was like, it's time. And I just knew Jayden would put it over my outside shoulder, and I try to work those tracking drills every single day at practice, so when you come out here, it's easy. But I like going against the best, man. I think he has a chance to be one of the best in the league, and I think I'm up there too, so we're going to keep working and see where we can go from here.
I think it's fair to say we can all appreciate real recognizing real, which is exactly what's happened with both Q and Cooper DeJean being listed as finalists for Defensive Rookie of the Year. However, no matter how good we expected them to be, you gotta admit it's pretty wild for a time in Philly to have not 1 but 2 finalists for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And better yet, they're both defensive backs.
Gotta say, I didn't see that one coming.
I'm honestly in the same boat, but here's the thing. At this point in the season, they're no longer rookies. I mean, all rookies at this point of the season, you've reached it here, you've played so many reps, no one's sleeping on you anymore. Yet it would be nice to see Cooper DeJean finally come up with his first interception. I mean, he was unbelievably close last week, but couldn't haul it in. Still, if you don't have one of their jerseys by now, then you're kind of crazy. So tell you what, do me a favor, drop a like on this video, and then go comment in the comment section what you're most excited about for this weekend. Because I'm going to select one lucky commenter to win either a Quinyon Mitchell jersey or a Cooper DeJean jersey in an upcoming video. Your choice. As always, just make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well to qualify. Also, while you're commenting that positivity, shout out to Daquan McDonald, who won the giveaway for 2 tickets to the NFC Championship game. It might be Daquan, but sorry, it's so close to Saquon, that's really the only way I'm going to say it. Anyway, Daquan, you got him, bro. I just need to hear back from you. So either email me, message me directly on social media, or just comment back here on the pinned comment for this video. I need to get your information, obviously verify that you are who you are, and you can get the tickets. If you don't, though, somebody on this video is going to end up winning those tickets back. So hurry up. It needs to be done by the Friday night live stream. So again, all the rest of you stay tuned, because it doesn't get more lit than the Eagles hosting the NFC Championship game. Plus, it's a given, but the vibes are really high in Philly. And understandably so, since Vic Fangio has the league's top-ranked scoring and total defense, including playoffs entering the NFC Championship game. And guess what? Teams with the #1 scoring and total defense entering a conference championship matchup at home are 4-0 over the last 20 seasons, so it feels like a lock.
The last thing we need is bad luck. Quick, toss some salt over your right shoulder.
Sorry, you're right. I don't want to jinx us, but here's why I'm incredibly confident in the Birds going to the Super Bowl. Not only do they have that top defense, but they've got the best rushing attack with Saquon Barkley. And right now, when you sign up with Underdog, you can get the best lock of the NFL weekend. Plus, as the official sponsor of the channel, you'll also get a special pick in the lobby along with up to $1,000 bonus cash when you scan the QR code or use my code PHILLYSPECIAL. Now, we hit big last week with a Saquon Barkley carry total, but Underdog's gotten a little bit smarter this week. However, there's still some crazy plays that you can take advantage of. Like, check this out. You can get Kenny Gainwell over 2.5 carries, which is kind of ridiculous. Now, I know technically Kenny didn't hit that line last week against LA, but the dude's gone over that amount in 13 of his last 14 games. And he already hit that number in both Washington games. So considering how awful Washington's run defense is, I would highly recommend getting in on that play before it bumps up. Also, maybe I'm wrong, but with the cold weather and a lot more wind than last week, the weather forecast calls for 30 to 35 mile per hour gusts, it wouldn't surprise me to see a focus on the ground game. Again, all you got to do is get signed up via the link in the description and use my code PHILLYSPECIAL because right now through the playoffs, Underdog is offering some of their best promos of the season. Of course, for me, I paired that up with Brian Robinson to go over 9.5 rushing attempts because that's the number that he's gone over in 13 of the last 15 games. And yes, for those wondering, he did it both games against the Eagles. Anyway, just wanted to get you these picks a little bit early because I felt like this was too good of an opportunity to pass up on. So again, scan the QR code, use code PHILLYSPECIAL, or just click the link in the description and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash.
I'll be very candid. I think the Eagles are better at every position. I don't know that there is one position, if you put the two rosters, the depth charts next to each other, that I would take the Washington player over the Eagle player. And that is a very honest assessment. I think that the Eagles are loaded. In Washington, to their credit, they play extremely well as a team. Dan Quinn is a fantastic coach. They scheme things well. Dan has always schemed us well. Even in Dallas, I didn't think that Dallas was particularly that good on defense last year, and they played us really tough in Dallas. So they're well coached. They play as a unit. They make minimal mistakes. They go for it on fourth down and get it a lot, which increases drives and their opportunities. So they do a lot of things really, really well, which is a big reason they're still here. And they just got done beating the best team in the NFC, arguably, over the last 2 seasons, pretty candidly in their house. And, I think obviously Detroit had some mistakes that magnified that, but, there wasn't a lot of defense played on either side of the ball. But it's going to be a tough game.
I've seen a lot of Commies fans take that clip and say, look out, you just gave Washington all the bulletin board material they needed. And I don't know, I'm sure that'll be used as fuel of some sort. However, if the Birds play up to their potential, I'm sorry, but the Joe Whitt defense doesn't stand a chance. Look, even for some strange reason, the Commanders were practicing in the bubble while blaring Fly Eagles Fly to try and prep for the hostile environment, which is certainly a choice since that song only gets played when Philly scores.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
At least they'll be able to sing along. I don't really quite understand if it was pumped in crowd noise or other music that was loud. I guess it makes somewhat of a sense, but that's a really bold choice there. Granted, when it comes to bulletin board material and bold choices, it doesn't get much bigger than what Commies defensive coordinator Joe Whitt said about Jalen Hurts.
The one thing is if he's going to run the ball and if the coordinator makes a decision for him to run the ball, we're going to treat him like a running back, and we're going to hit him that way. So that's their decision if they want to get him hit the way that he gets hit. If they don't, they'll keep him in the pocket. So, but that's what we're going to do.
Okay, first off, that's not surprising for him to say that. For one, it's a division rival. But yes, on the flip side, other people are going, well, hey, there you go. There's your bulletin board material for Philly. Yet the bigger stance for me is that now this is out there for the NFL. And hopefully they're listening and watching more closely. Now, I know I see things through a Kelly Green lens a lot of the time, but when you look at the cheap shots and late hits from Frankie Luvu this season, referee Sean Hockley better be keeping an eye out to protect Jalen. By the way, not sure if this makes you feel better, but in terms of records, if you care about this thing, Philly is 6-0 with Sean Hockley as the ref, including 5-1 against the spread. Meanwhile, the Commanders are 1-2 with a 0-3 record against the spread. And oh, don't worry, Commies fans and the national media are already getting the excuses for if and when they lose that it was totally due to the refs, while also throwing out there that it's nothing short of a colossal failure if Philly didn't beat Washington.
This would be a colossal failure if Philly doesn't win this football game. Colossal. Number one, you have the most talented roster in all of football, okay? Number two, you have a historical run game that, in arguably rightfully so, you passed up on breaking an all-time NFL record for the greater good, the bigger goal. And you get to play this game at home. You don't have to go on the road to the 1 seed. And as amazing as Jayden has been, he's a rookie quarterback.
It's just comical at this point. Every single take is like, the Commanders are incredible. The Commanders are incredible until you get a little bit closer. Well, let's go ahead and throw out there that excuse, because if Philly wins, it's like, oh yeah, well, they had a rookie quarterback and all this other stuff. I don't mind one side or the other. Just stick to one stance. Don't be hypocritical. So I'll say this. Get ready. Even when the Eagles win, all these excuses are going to come pouring in. Just remember, hold the receipts.
The rookie rules don't apply. They don't apply to this guy. I've never seen something like this. 13 years as a player, 16 years as an analyst here. This is the best rookie quarterback I've seen.
Jayden Daniels is the best kind of dual threat quarterback. Jayden Daniels is a pocket passer with an ability to run.
Come on now. He's the best quarterback in these playoffs right now.
Look, the dude's a baller. There's no doubt about it. Although getting back to some of the rigged comments I've gotten, personally, I don't really buy into these storylines too much. Yet it is fair when you see stuff like Kliff Bateman, who will ref the Chiefs game, posing with Chiefs fans and, kind of makes you even more skeptical. Here's the truth of the matter, though. Both teams are crazy competitive, and both teams have more than enough motivation.
I remember, after we lost to Washington, some of those guys were looking at us and saying that we're going to see you again, and here we are.
We get to play the Eagles again. That's the exciting moment for us. Best out of three moment. Another divisional game against the team right down the road. That's what's really exciting about it.
Expecting Jalen to be Jalen. He's going to show up for us. He's going to make plays. He's a winner. He got that it factor, like I've said multiple times. And it's on us to go out there, too, and step up. We all got to step up, everybody. It's an opponent that we're familiar with, and they're familiar with us. And, they're playing great ball right now. Got a lot of confidence over there, too. So it's going to take all of us to go out there and win this game on Sunday.
Take great pride in winning. That's the most important thing. That's the only thing that matters, and it looks different. It looks different, and it's looked different throughout the course of my years here. But it's always been about winning.
Okay, everyone's talking about Jalen Hurts' knee, and it's definitely worth monitoring, but he was back at practice and getting in reps, so it doesn't feel like there'll be too many limiters for him, and he's definitely playing Sunday. However, the area that is no doubt concerning and pretty shocking for the Eagles is that both Dallas Goedert and Cam Jurgens didn't practice. Which, okay, first off, they missed the estimated walkthrough with the day off on Wednesday, which isn't totally out of the norm. The thinking is that they would just be back the day after.
Dallas and Cam at practice today?
They will be out there today, yeah.
So obviously that didn't happen, or well, I guess Goedert was out on the field but very quickly moved to the side and took the practice off. Like, I don't know if it's just him testing out the ankle and not good to go or what it is. Remember, Philly has the best run game efficiency by a mile when he's on the field, but that drops to top 10 running game when he's not out there. Still, a decent amount of time to get treatment, so hopefully they'll be all right. For me, the more glaring concern is Cam Jurgens, though. Like, not only was he not out there at practice, even though Sirianni said he would be, but you had left guard Landon Dickerson taking over the first team reps at center and then backup Tyler Steen filling in at left guard. And I'll just go ahead and say it, I believe in this team to win, but seeing this type of switcheroo makes you think Jurgens' back may be worse than Philly's letting on. Now sure, if you're going to go heavy run, maybe this works in Philly's favor. After all, like Anthony pointed out, if Dickerson and Steen had to fill in, then the average height and weight of the Eagles' O-line would be 6'6", 340. Look, on one hand, that sounds pretty good to me, and I trust Jeff Stoutland. However, the idea of a lack of chemistry and guys playing out of position is for sure concerning. And then throw in the fact that the tandem of defensive tackles Jonathan Allen, who returned from the pectoral injury, along with Deron Payne, have improved the interior of Washington's D-line dramatically. And man, this one just got a whole lot tougher.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just Thursday practice, getting Cam some rest, and it's just kind of the way it falls with rotation on backup center. So service for practice and make sure that he's feeling good for Sunday.
How did you feel back there? It's obviously a lot of responsibility calling all the protections.
Yeah, I mean, knock the rust off. I did it for a little bit in college and done it a few times in the league. So knock the rust off and, kind of get back in the saddle. It's like riding a bike.
Do you expect him to play Sunday?
I mean, I do, but I'm not a medical guy. I don't know exactly what. Y'all can ask Sirianni or trainers. I don't know exactly, but as far as I'm concerned, I think he is.
How many snaps do you get at center during like a normal week? You get some?
Zero.
It's over. We are screwed.
How do you stay ready? Because at times we've seen you not often, but you do have to go in there.
I mean, like I said, it's like riding a bike. So you go in, get a few snaps, knock the rust off, and then you're usually good to go. So.
If you do have to play on Sunday, how ready do you think you'd be for that at Sunday?
I mean, I'd be pretty ready for it. I mean, it's happened. Usually I don't really get a heads up. It's kind of just like, one play, and then Tampa Bay or even Giants game a couple years ago. I mean, at least I get kind of a heads up to go warm up and kind of get my footwork and stuff down.
Hold on, let's not go overboard. I know that's the immediate knee-jerk reaction is, oh my gosh, we're doomed here. The guys can play well. We've seen guys step up and fill in. We've seen Fred Johnson, who, yes, he also was not at practice, but we've seen him fill in for Lane Johnson. We've seen other guys come in, make significant impacts. There's also still one more practice. They got to walk through on Saturday, so it's not impossible that they don't give it a go. By the way, just make sure to hit that sub button and turn those notifications on if you haven't already, because if we get breaking news or any major updates or anything anything like that, I will for sure be going live. Now, as for the Commies, they have a clean bill of health for the most part, as linebacker Bobby Wagner was the only one who missed practice strictly due to an injury and not a combination of rest, yet he's also expected to play as of right now. And then on a more positive light for the Birds, the Eagles are getting wide receiver Britton Covey back and opened up his practice window. So it's worth monitoring if they add him back to the active roster so that then he could take over Cooper DeJean's reps for punt return and allow the rookie to solely focus on his defensive responsibilities. But, either way, he's going to be fine. And then speaking of receiver, this week should tell us a whole lot about A.J. Brown and the legitimacy of is he injured, is it not, is it just game plan, what's going on there? Since he's been dealing with a lingering knee issue, and although Swole Batman has said it's gotten better and basically no longer an issue, 3 catches for 24 yards through 2 games feels like something might be off. I know, that's total speculation, and AJ's ultimately about whatever gets the win.
It's kind of how the game's been going, like I said, after the game, I'm okay. We won. I had some incredible blocks for the spring touchdown, so regardless of if the numbers are not there, I know people care about that, but right now, none of that matter. It's all about getting that win at the end of the day.
Look, I can appreciate the mindset, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if after the season that we end up getting a report that AJ had a minor procedure, fixed something in the knee injury that he had several weeks ago, because it just feels like he's playing through pain. You see him hobbling every once in a while. A drop is one thing, but just the movement, things like that, the more that you watch, it does not feel like he's 100%. I don't know, maybe I'm way off base there. I know no one's really at fully 100%, but either way, the team continues to find ways to win. And for the defense, that all starts with limiting Jayden Daniels. Look, Vic Fangio's already talked about Daniels' uncanny ability as a rookie. But the ultimate thing the Birds cannot do is get into blitzing on defense. Remember, over the last 7 games, Jayden Daniels has a near-perfect quarterback rating with 71% completion, 41 first downs, and only 3 sacks taken. Now, yes, you're right that if you can pressure him, then his rating drops crazy, like down to 50. But the key is to get that pressure without blitzing. After all, when the Eagles won in Week 11, they only blitzed 13% of the time while getting 3 sacks and keeping Daniels contained. Although in Week 16, Fangio blitzed 36% of the time, which only resulted in 1 sack, with Jayden putting together some ridiculous drives in the second half, and ultimately, yes, they came back and won. Having said that, I know Devontae Smith, if he caught the ball, the Eagles went on the final drive, and they could have ran out the clock, no big deal. Although I'd argue that it wouldn't have come to that point if C.J. Gardner-Johnson hadn't been ejected. I mean, let's not forget, as Anthony DeBona pointed out, that the Commanders scored 14 points, gained 194 total yards, and had 4 turnovers in 9 possessions before CJ was ejected. But then went on to score 21 points and gained 210 yards in just 4 possessions after his ejection. So, can they hold serve, and can Kellen Moore get just a little bit more creative with the offense? I think that's the question. Now, the positive is, like I've mentioned previously, that Kellen Moore has no interviews upcoming. By the way, it does sound like the New Orleans Saints are interested in him, but at least the Saints can't interview him until January 27th at the earliest. Although, once again, an interview with an assistant coach in the same city as the Super Bowl just gives me PTSD. All I'll say is that at least the Cowboys seem set on hiring Brian Schottenheimer as their head coach, and I, for one, am a huge fan of that. So keep doing you, Jerry. All right, do me a favor and hit that like button, and then how are we feeling about these injury updates? Does it change your confidence level? And if so, how much? Let's talk about it in the chat. Until next time, this has been the Philly Special.